Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin.
And I'm John.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Now, you guys, as you know, Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies, and we're breaking them all the way down.
Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive.
Hey, what's up, John?
Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
Oh my God, I'm doing great, dude.
I'm so glad to hear it. Happy New Year again to you.
Happy New Year's, yes, everybody. We hope 2021 is going better for you than 2020 probably did.
Yeah, we hope it has removed the shiv that 2020 left stuck in your back as it walked away while you were bleeding on the ground.
As I sit here in my basement, I'm assuming that we're probably the number one podcast in the world by now.
100%. Yeah.
Why wouldn't we be?
Thank you all for making us number one. Cheers to you. We couldn't have done it without you.
Come back next week. Special guest Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be on the podcast.
Yeah, lots happened in a week.
What are you drinking over there, friend?
I am drinking that Jefferson's Ocean Aged, that bourbon that they put in.
I want a glass.
That'll be my post New Year's present to you. Is going to be a delicious bottle of this bourbon. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's got a nice salty, unexpected salty brine to it.
Is that what it is? Is that what like salt air is in?
I mean, so I don't know why. I guess they have a deal to put it in barrels that are being shipped overseas anyway, and it ages while it's out there. And I think that it's just it must be something about being out at sea that gives it a little bit of like a salty brininess, not overpowering. It's not like drinking like an Islay Scotch or something like that, but it's just an interesting flavor profile for a bourbon.
Is it made by Jefferson Reserve?
I think
like the same.
That's them. I'm pretty sure it's them.
Like,
but they don't call it Jefferson's Reserve. It's just Jefferson's Ocean Ocean Aged.
I am doing a complete change of pace, and I'm drinking a margarita.
What?
I feel like I'm closing a chapter. I feel like I'm closing a chapter in my life because I just polished off finally a bottle of tequila bought in Mexico on my honeymoon in 2013.
Okay, but tell us all why that's interesting.
It's aged to perfection. Well, the bottle of tequila lasted longer than the marriage did.
Oh, that's okay. We all been there, baby. It's all good.
Yeah, dude. I'm drinking this Jose Cuervo Silver from Mexico with a weird mixture of Jose Cuervo sugar-free margarita mix, regular margarita mix from Jose Cuervo, and a splash of orange pineapple juice from Kroger. It's like a fucked up Texas margarita.
That sounds fancy as fuck.
It's actually amazing.
Yeah.
And it's getting the job done, if you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying, and I approve this message.
Where did we leave off? What are we talking about?
Well, I guess we should tell everyone, if you're just tuning in, hopefully by your podcast label, you were able to divine that we're talking about, this is our last chapter in our breakdown of The Long Kiss Goodnight, a 1996 vehicle starring Gina Davis and one Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson in one of his all-time favorite roles. And it's been literally a nonstop action thrill ride.
Is a movie a vehicle if it's not a vehicle for a particular star?
You know more about movies and the fine points of the word vehicle. I always just thought, and this is my naivete, thought that when you call it vehicle, it just means that
any old movie.
You're the star of the movie. That
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess it does help if it propels you to stardom, which this movie definitely did not.
It might have ended careers. I feel like only Sam Jackson came out of this thing smelling like a rose.
Well, and Brian Cox.
He's still badass.
Everyone but Gina Davis.
No, Rennie Harlan was fucked after this.
Yeah, that's true. You can't go back to back in Hollywood at this magnitude and expect everyone to kind of roll over and forget about it.
And the dude who played Timothy, I feel like he never recovered.
Yeah,
I never saw him in anything else, and he was kind of enjoyable in this.
Yeah, he was one of those villains that we love that was just like relishing being so bad. And I don't know whether it was because people saw him and it just like, I don't know what the deal was, but you're right. Like I went back and tried to remember anything else that he'd been in. And this and him playing Max Baer in Cinderella Man are like the only things I can remember him being in.
Yeah. Why don't you bring us up to speed here on the plot?
Well, Kevin, friends, let me tell you what happened, because it's a lot. In about 35, 40 minutes, we covered a lot of ground. So yeah, Mitch and Charly headed back to her hometown in Honesdale to get the key that would open her safe deposit box, in which lay her vast fortune from her career of murdering people.
What was the deal? The key was like on the teddy bear or some shit?
She knew the key was in the house, but she'd forgotten that she put it on the bear, conveniently named Mr. Perkins.
Mr. Perkins.
Mr. Perkins. So some bad guys roll up. Trouble ensues, but Mitch and Charly are equal to the task. However, what they didn't expect was that Timothy was going to swoop in and kidnap young Caitlin. And he calls with further instructions. They trace it back to an old hotel or lodge or some damn thing near Niagara Falls. And they roll up and are immediately captured. It's like, let's make a shit plan. And then bad guys immediately do what bad guys do and divulge their entire master plan, which in this case is to stage a mass murder via a chemical bomb to basically steal some money from Congress for a new war. They're also going to freeze Charly and Caitlin to death in a meat locker and leave them out in the middle of nowhere. So it looks like she's a bad mom, crazy lady. And then at that point, Charly drops a bomb that Timothy is young Caitlin's father. What? Timothy decides
he doesn't give a fuck.
He does not give a fuck. He's like, can you bring me my little bitch? Like, he's just like, Jesus. Timothy then decides to blow off some steam by carving up Mitch, but right as he's about to do so, Charly somehow causes this like massive explosion that throws the whole bad guy base into disarray. Somehow Mitch miraculously gets free, and he
was blown out the window through a sign and into a treetop.
Yeah, like
dropped to the ground, and he was more or less okay.
And then somehow Caitlin and Charly were also not killed by that blast. Yeah. So as all this is transpiring, they try to escape.
I would say they were shielded inside the freezer by like a big, steel door.
Yeah.
From where the explosion was. But yes, nevertheless,
for it to have
every
the
character has died in this movie many times over.
That's true. That's I think the lesson to be learned from this movie is that there are no stakes. Everyone will be fine. So yeah, they escape, but they're pursued. Charly tells Caitlin to hide, which she does, but she hides on the truck that's armed to explode and kill thousands. And that catches us up.
Right. Yes. Oh man, there's a lot happening in this movie. If anything, this movie's fatal flaw is that it's got too much plot.
I agree. Well, shall we dive into this plot?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So just post explosion, as we said, Mitch has been hurled out a window, has no right to be alive. And man, the makeup effects, especially on Samuel L. Jackson, is like every time you see him from here on out, he's covered in more and more like gore, just like shit's hanging off of him, like skin and blood. So he jumps on a radio. He tells Charly that Caitlin's on the truck /bomb and that they have 20 minutes before it blows.
He gets to telling her about when it gets to 312 degrees, it's going to blow up, which is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
It's 20 minutes. And also when it hits 312 degrees, like there's a straight up timer on the bomb in addition to a thermometer. I don't know why the writer, Mr. Black, felt the need to include this temperature of the bomb as such a major plot point.
Yeah, no, I agree. as you say, the timer makes that it's just like a moot point. We don't need to know.
We got 2 timers, basically.
Well, but why?
Double the suspense.
I guess. So yeah, Mitch tells Charly that he's going to try to get Caitlin out of the truck and he needs her to cover him. But she's like, there are too many enemies. You got no chance.
Then Mitch says, so kill him for me, bitch. What are you good for? He's delivering nothing but haymakers. Like, his lines are all incredible.
Yeah.
I fucking love Sam Jackson. I love him.
He destroys in this movie and every other. It's so good.
So kill him for me, bitch. What are you good for? He is badass, utter badass.
And then we see, like, I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but I think they actually filmed the version and then released it in screen tests that Mitch was supposed to die. And, and that this part especially feels like foreshadowing. Like, it was like getting the audience ready for the fact that Mitch was about to make the ultimate sacrifice, because he has this conversation with himself. He's like, I've got to get this one thing in my life right. And she's like trying to talk him out of it, but he like takes off anyway. So it's like, I feel like that was a moment where we were all supposed to be like, oh shit, maybe Mitch isn't going to make it. Charly's guiding him as best she can on the radio, covering him as he runs. He's like, left, your other left.
That old chestnut.
Yeah, that old chestnut. Mitch gets shot in the foot, which I just, foot and hand
injuries. Can you
injuries.
imagine walking with a gunshot wound to your foot?
No, I can't.
No, I'd just be laying there.
Yeah, I would have been like, that's it. You guys should get me. But then he also gets shot in his chest/shoulder area.
Yes.
And Charly keeps the pressure on, shooting bad guys, but Mitch falls.
Right. It sort of seems like he's out for the count.
Right. Then we see the truck with the bomb rolling out. Mitch looks up and
Caitlin inside.
That's right.
She's in the toolbox or whatever the fuck.
She's in like a real flimsy looking stainless steel toolbox.
Yes. Thank God one side's mesh so you can see her face
because
looking out.
Why? Why would you have a mesh fucking toolbox where all your tools are getting exposed to the elements?
Only so that you can see a young child's face looking out.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's right. She's inside there. I forgot.
So Mitch looks up at that moment and sees the car that we mentioned in the last act with the frozen dead dummy terrorist in it. And then we have a quick cut to Charly, who's running the truck down on foot. And then
she is.
This scene that's like defies all logic. She whips around, a car is seen speeding down the road. She just steps out and like mows just shoots the driver multiple times.
Opens fire.
How did she know that it was a bad guy?
Maybe you're right. There's no way she could have known. Maybe she didn't care.
Oh, that's
maybe.
That's
I mean, if she's trying to get her daughter, but also very lucky for her that the car sort of skids out of control after she shoots the driver and skids to a stop right in front of her because she made no effort to like get out of the road.
What would have happened if it just started like flipping like end over end towards her or something? It's like there was no backup plan here.
She somehow knew that car was going to stop, which it did, of course, because this is a movie.
Oh, okay. So
that's what happens.
We cut to Timothy, who's yelling at bad guys that Charly is going to make an attempt on the payload and to watch their backs. And because this is also a movie, we need a chopper in here, Kevin.
Exactly.
We see Charly crashing a Christmas parade en route to the truck, which
she does. She drives that car right into the parade.
And then people like mob the car. Like, what the fuck is that? The mob on the car.
They swarmed on it. There was like fucking plushies, like reindeer and big plush outfits, fucking furries everywhere.
Sexy Christmas.
But it's Christmas Eve, right?
What universe is there an actual Christmas Eve parade?
Right. What town is having their parade on Christmas Eve?
That's weird. A bunch of heathens. They're not at home doing that. They're not at home lighting that Christ candle. Is what I'll tell you. They're not.
But you're right. They surrounded the car, but not even. I don't know. It's fucking weird. So she fights her way through the crowd. That's basically the reason why.
She jumps on the truck and commandeers it with relative ease. It's just like she points the gun at the guy and then throws him out immediately. And that's that.
Yeah. That's one of my all-time stunts. When I see it happen, it always hurts.
Oh,
like when you see a dude fall out of a moving truck. It happens in like every Terminator movie, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, ow, they're landing on asphalt.
He was hurting.
How much would someone have to pay you to like dive out of a moving tractor trailer? Just tuck and roll, they tell you.
If they promise me that it's going to look okay for the shot, if I like jump out, hit feet, and then roll, how fast are we talking about?
25 miles an hour. Asphalt, slick, cold, maybe icy asphalt.
All of my student loans gone.
Gonna wipe them out.
Wiped out in one fell swoop. I love it.
That seems fair.
So then we cut and see a bunch of bad guys chasing the driver of the truck, which I love this bit. Radios to Timothy that Charlie has the truck. Sir, I'm injured. I may be dying.
Timothy says, continue dying. Out.
Solid.
Amazing.
Solid bad guy
That
line.
is great delivery as well.
Yeah,
Kudos,
it's
Timothy.
sort of like deadpan, serious crazy eyes happening.
You can't. It's hard to find good help.
I may be dying. That dude, like, there's no way that dude's dying. There's no internal bleeding. I like to think that he was just
she
like,
didn't shoot him or anything, did she?
no, he was like off somewhere, like rubbing his shoulder. Sir, I'm dying. Like, not actually hurt that bad.
He's probably just trying to cover his ass.
He was
He
probably
should have
already.
had the door locked.
He was on a bus on his way to Canada to try to hide out. So while trying to get the truck to a safe place to blow up, we guess something malfunctions. It looks like she's pressing the gas pedal, but some hoses spring a leak.
Yeah, it was like the brake line or some type of hydraulic something or another.
I've watched this scene so many times, but there's like so many pedals, and I drive a clutch, but it's like it looks like she's not pressing the brake pedal. I'm very confused by whether she's trying to stop or speed up, but my assumption is she's trying to stop and can't.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that's weird is the malfunction or whatever it is has nothing to do with anything that's happened. Like in the movie, like that was just a thing that was going to break on that truck at that moment, no matter who was driving or where it was. Right?
Did Perkins not shell out enough money for like a nice truck?
Like maybe since they know they're about to blow it up, he bought the cheap truck.
I don't understand it. It doesn't, anyway, as we keep saying, it's a movie. Shut up and enjoy the Die Hard. But God, it doesn't make any sense to me either. As she's heading toward a brick wall that's there because she can't stop. I assume she's been trying to slow down while flying down that hill, but right before she hits, she drops, I don't know, maybe what my favorite lines are, maybe it's just because she says it and it's like one of the lines that I really enjoy that she says, but it's like, suck my dick, every one of you bastards.
I love that.
It's so good because she's a woman.
Anytime a woman tells someone to suck their dick, that's just badass.
Yeah.
I am on board with that 100%.
I am too.
Rad.
The truck or some miniature we reckon plows through a wall and flips. The effect looks really good. It looks real.
Yeah, dude, that was a great model shot.
Yeah.
Like it could only have been a model, but it looked awesome.
Yeah, it looked really good. It sort of reminded me of the kind of quality, maybe not quite up to par of the bridge scene in True Lies, but that kind of miniature that makes it just, because it's a real thing going like in physics is doing what it does. It just looks really, really good.
I think in Terminator 2 when they crashed the liquid nitrogen truck, I think that was also a model shot, which looks amazing. It's kind of weird. Like the kid is still in the toolbox, right?
Thank God it didn't land toolbox down. Am I right?
Either way, though, you're getting like slammed into the sides of this metal box that you're in. That's not survivable. You're not safe. You're not safe inside of a metal box.
I love that, like, as the truck flips and grinds forward at speed on its side, we see her like climbing her ass up out of it, riding it like a surfboard.
Oh, yeah. She's a fucking badass.
Nothing can stop her. Timothy, who's out with his buddy, joyriding, sees this too late, pulls the car he's in to a full stop only to be plowed into by the truck. So this is like the second time Timothy's died tonight, or third. This causes Charly to go airborne, but thankfully she lands in some she lands in some sand. Some construction sand.
The bridge is like under construction. Some type of work is going on the bridge here.
Yeah, we see like the truck grinds to a halt on the bridge that connects the border from Niagara, Canada, and New York. We suppose the Friendship Bridge.
That's a real bridge, the Rainbow International Bridge. I've never been up there to like the whole Buffalo, Niagara Falls, Toronto area, but I need to get up there because that looks so amazingly picturesque that I assumed it wasn't a real thing, but no, it's real. It's awesome.
It's pretty damn cool. It is as awe-inspiring as you feel like it might be.
Is it overdone, like overly developed and souvenir shops everywhere and stuff like that?
There was a lot. I mean, there are a lot of hotels in and around the area and stuff like that. Like in, what is it, Superman 2? Superman 2, yeah.
What the fuck were they doing there in Superman 2? They were like on assignment?
Yeah, they were on assignment.
Like Lois and Clark, because they weren't a couple, right? But were they pretending to be a married couple? Or something to see what it's like here. It was like a tourism piece or something that they were writing.
For Niagara Falls that had already been famous for like 150 years at that point when that movie was
weird.
Made. Yeah, it's very, very bizarre.
And that is not like Lois Lane's regular beat.
No,
it's like go write a fluff piece about what it's like at Niagara Falls these days.
It was a slow month in Metropolis. I guess we'll talk about this movie some more.
Yeah, let's get on it.
So anyway, Niagara. If you haven't been there, check it out. It's pretty badass. I don't know how chemical bombs work, Kevin, but when that truck turned over, it didn't make it go off.
I think it can only be triggered by when the temperature hits 312 degrees the timer runs out.
You don't think some high speed friction and volatility are going to make that thing like cook up? It should have
ruptured. It should have ruptured the tanker.
Agreed.
Like I assume the tank part of the tanker is filled with accelerant or something that's part of the bomb.
I also thought this.
It should have been a hole should have been ripped in that thing for sure. So
yeah.
But anyway, it held up.
Yeah, but again, we mentioned thank God for the toolbox Caitlin's in because that shit's fine.
She's good.
As Charly pulls herself together on some sand, we see that Timothy isn't in his car. I always love that shot when the hero gets a glimpse like of something in like it's out of focus and then it comes in focus and the bad guy that should be there is not there.
The rack focus.
I love that rack focus. Timothy jumps out of nowhere. And we get the movie's main showdown part 1 because the main showdown lasts for some time.
We get probably like a trilogy of showdowns, perhaps.
The Long Kiss Goodnight showdown trilogy. I love it. It's like Return of the King, but not good. There's a lot of trading of blows. She tries to get a gun, which he knocks away. Then he pulls a little knife, which there's another great line there. Oh, honey, only 4 inches.
And he says, "You'll feel me."
Ew.
It's weird.
That's so gross.
Weird. I don't even know what to make of that line. Well, it makes me cringe, but I can't tell if it's really good writing or if it's not good writing at all.
Well, I think it's not good writing because she knows how big his dick is.
True.
Right?
But yes, if indeed he sired her child,
right?
Then yes, and I assume she's seen it.
I don't get it. Maybe it is only 4 inches, but anyway, she picks up a chain because there are always some chains laying around, some loose chains laying around.
I've never been on a construction site where there wasn't some loose chain lying around.
Right. Either on a construction site or in a Final Fight video game. So she swings and misses. He like cuts her gut open. He swipes. She wraps him up. Over the side they go because there's this giant pit, which I will concede. Yeah, maybe next to this bridge, there's a giant like construction pit where they're doing some like, I don't know, reinforcement of the bridge structure, maybe.
They seem to fall into like the underworkings of the bridge or something, right?
There's a lot of netting that they managed to catch themselves on, and the gun's like hanging there. I don't know what world they've fallen into, but this is like bridge construction time, we guess.
It's very elaborately staged.
Yeah,
and it was also like, I thought it was like some full on American Gladiator shit with they were hanging on the net. I have been on the last few weeks. I've been on such an American Gladiators kick, watching all these old episodes of American Gladiators, inspired by our Running Man series.
Yes, go check that out too.
And yeah, they're like fighting on a cargo net, basically.
You're doing the hard work that we should all be doing.
I'm keeping the flame burning for American Gladiators. I want a reboot. Netflix, give me new episodes.
I would like that, like an honest to God reboot, as opposed to like we're just going to try to get some ratings, like running on the nostalgia train.
If American Ninja Warrior can like thrive, then there's definitely a place for American Gladiators.
I agree. I guess back to this movie. Is this movie more or less interesting than American Gladiators? Be honest.
More interesting, but probably less fulfilling, less satisfying.
That's amazing. Okay, so anyway, Timothy gets the gun, tries to get a shot off, but as he's doing that, Charly summons all of the will and jumps and grabs onto him in midair. She's using a lot of core strength that I don't have. But she's like hanging on his back, knocks the gun loose somehow. And she gives this like big pull backward and he falls. She catches herself with her feet and Timothy plummets to his third death in the icy waters below.
He falls conveniently right into like a opening in the bottom of running water, which I assume is is it almost the falls, or is it the river if nothing else?
It's strange that there's a tunnel with a hatch that he falls into that's deep enough that he's going to live, or he fell right into the river and it's deep enough that he's going to live, but then it funnels into a tube that he comes out of. I don't know. It all seems very implausible. That's neither here nor there. We got a movie to get through. So as she's dangling there by her feet, we see that Timothy miraculously somehow, when he got that one shot off, managed to hit her in the belly.
Yeah, she's gut shot.
Which I just can't even imagine. It makes me pale and nauseated thinking about it. Then we immediately cut to Timothy pulling himself out of the fucking river. What the fuck?
That would be, I mean, it's conceivable. I guess you could maybe have survived that, but you would be into some hypothermia pretty darn quick.
Right.
Like that water, even in the summer, is probably crazy cold. And we're talking about late December.
Agreed.
Like the water's probably barely above freezing.
Agreed.
If it's not sub-freezing almost. But yeah.
No, we have
you'd be dead in minutes.
We have to assume that
going in that water.
Maybe he's had the same kind of training where it's mind over matter that Charly's had, where she was like in the water earlier. I don't know.
That's true.
It still doesn't make it any more plausible that he's the fall, but he would have died anyway.
So that's death number whatever for him.
Yeah,
but
it's a continuation of death number 4. So yeah, we cut to Charly pulling herself up out of whatever construction shaft she was just in and like limping towards the truck, and we hear Caitlin calling for help. Caitlin's alive.
Yes,
thank
indeed.
God. We then see a flare fired up in the air, and then we see that chopper that Timothy was mentioning before. So they start like opening fire. So the only thing that I can assume is that they think that Charly is in the truck.
Yes.
And they just open fire indiscriminately, trying to hit whoever might be there.
So I had just rewatched before we started recording here, and there's a bit of dialogue that's thrown in there probably just to try to explain this, where the dude in the helicopter says, "She must be in the truck." And then all the shooting starts. Why are they shooting at what they know is a bomb? I don't know.
Or flying right over it in a helicopter. It's like, why not just leave? It's going to blow up.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
100%.
So,
what do you care about shooting her anymore at this point? The truck's on its side. Like, it's not going anywhere.
We have strict orders. Like, they're all slaves to their principles. So Charly shoots back, kills the shooter and the other guy in the back of the chopper, which causes a flare to light inside the chopper and light that guy on fire, which fine. I have no fucking problems with that. It looks cool.
Oh, dude, that was a fucking amazing stunt.
Yeah,
like a dude on fire falling out of the helicopter, and it was probably a real stuntman because he was sort of flailing around.
It's
Like,
super
it looked
gruesome.
awesome.
It is super gruesome. But
I loved it though.
I agree with you.
He gets tangled up in those Christmas lights that are sort of strung up above the bridge.
It's the death of Christmas, Kevin. So after this badass stunt, we see Charly getting Caitlin out of the truck.
Caitlin says, "Mommy, I hit my head." That's, I guess, the acknowledgement of the fact that she should be dead. Like, right? Like,
oh man,
there's
yes.
no blood or any like head injury that we can see, but yeah, she at least acknowledges that she bumped her head during all of that, chaos.
Caitlin's got maybe a concussion, maybe. Maybe. We cut to bomb clock, says we got about 7.5 left till go time. Charly tells Caitlin to run, but Caitlin begs, "Don't go away again." Charly tells her, "I'm right behind you." And it's at this moment that we start to see like Charly's like super worse for wear. We know she's probably, we know she's like bleeding out. Anyway, Caitlin runs off. Charly falls, understandably exhausted. But then we see Caitlin stop and look back, and I'm like, what the hell, Caitlin? Just like keep running.
She's disobeying mommy.
That's right. Bobby. We see another.
Are lisps or whatever, or speech impediments cute? I don't even want to call it a lisp because there's Mr. Perkins. There's also Mobby.
It's a little bit of like a super like nasal, like she's got a cold sort of thing going on.
Maybe. I mean,
Bobby.
that would make sense because she's been in some cold ass situations. She's been riding in the toolbox of a tractor trailer for like the last hour. Mobby.
It reminds me of, there's a very brief scene in The Hobbit, the book, where Bilbo has like gotten wet and kind of caught a cold, and like someone like, offers him,
I don't remember this at all.
I think it's when they're like at the lake people, like on
Lake
the
Town or
long
whatever?
lake, in Lake Town on the long lake, and he's like, and Tolkien bothered to spell out like "thank you very much," like that Bilbo had, and that's all I can think of when I'm listening to this scene. It's like Bobby.
Do you think did Shane Black write the speech impediment or the lisp in the script, or is that just the kid?
Maybe a little bit of both. Like maybe they were like, it doesn't sound like she's stuffed up enough. And they're like,
"Get
just
up, Bobby."
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, at this moment, we see another chopper is inbound. Timothy flags.
Is it another chopper or is it the same chopper that the dude fell out of?
It's a different chopper. It's a different chopper.
Wow.
Because
these guys have deep pockets and a lot of resources.
Yeah, it's maybe they should spend less money on all of this and more on the war they want to have. I don't know. Like it seems like they got plenty of money. Anyway, we see Caitlin run back to passed out Charly. We also see lots of like Ford Tauruses suddenly roll up on the border crossing.
I remember Ford Tauruses and Toyota Camrys were everywhere in like 96.
We also see the truck that we know has the decoy in it. Like the decoy car. So we know that all these guys rolling up, these are all bad guys, right? That's what we assume?
That's what I guess so, but there's scores.
That's
of
what I'm
them.
saying. Like
dozens of cars.
These guys are.
Why are they coming?
These
there?
guys are ostensibly American law enforcement agents.
They're government agents or something, right? They're federal agents.
How could a conspiracy run this deep that you have close to 200 U.S. special forces or law enforcement guys? Like, what the hell?
No one's dropping a dime and calling the Washington Post or fucking CNN or whatever.
We're creating a war.
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
Such bullshit, but it's anyway. Then Caitlin gives her mom a similar dressing down to the one that she received when she was whining about her ice skating injury. She tells her, "Stop being a baby. Get up. Life is pain."
Bobby, this scene that's asking a lot of a child actor to try to carry this scene.
Yeah, you were saying that like I didn't really think about it, but yeah, like all the life is pain talk and get used to it and crying to your dead parent.
Yeah, those are very adult lines.
I didn't think about it until after.
For a child actor with no life experience.
She's digging deep too. Like she mines the well for emotion there, for grief.
Yeah.
She sells it.
she did an admirable job. I think she did about as well as you can expect of a 10-year-old.
It kind of, to me, this seemed like a turning point in the movie. It seemed like at this moment Charly died, and when she wakes up, like Samantha, her alter ego, has more or less like taken control, but she still has all of her like secret agent skills.
She's risen from the ashes like a phoenix.
That. I love that.
Fuck yes.
Anyway, she comes to, she gets up, she looks rough as shit. She's covered in blood. She's bleeding out. She tells Caitlin, you're grounded, which is stupid.
I think Shane Black's lines, they land about 30. They landed like a 30% rate.
I agree.
I give him credit. I give him credit for trying and taking risks and trying to be creative with the way he writes. But yeah, the jokes, they come fast and furious, and about 1 out of every 3 is funny.
God bless him. And yet here we are.
I love him. I would love to be him.
Yeah, his career path has been amazing.
This motherfucker wrote Lethal Weapon.
That's fucking crazy to me, man. So crazy.
Nothing else matters after that.
Man, shit. Yeah, we're going to have to do that one, even though all we're going to do is like talk about it.
It'll be a Christmas
All we're going to talk about is how awesome it is. Yeah, we'll see you guys about this time next year talking about Lethal Weapon. So then we cut to the chopper, which Timothy is shimmying up the ladder and tells the pilot to get to the bridge, doesn't want to leave until I know that bitch is dead.
I feel like Timothy is like suicidal at this point. Like, he doesn't care if he dies. He just wants to be the one to kill Samantha / Charly.
I would love to know. I would love to see the prequel where they're introduced, but I feel like he is 100% just like bonkers. Like, he knows that
Do you think it's like a rom-com?
like Mr. and Mrs. Smith? But they're like just stabbing each other constantly and like sewing each other back up. It's weird.
I bet that sex was off the hook.
That one time.
They're both just fucking crazy.
They probably did stab each other multiple times during.
Yeah, dude, they were pouring like hot wax and all that shit.
Hot bullets like touching each other with spent shells. So Charly and Caitlin are running to safety, but then the chopper comes out of nowhere and Timothy does his like helicopter salute number 5 and just starts shooting at them because
you love the Timothy salute.
It's such like a calling card. And he always looks the exact same. It's like it's so well
cheerful, like
it's so well practiced. He's like, good to see ya. Now I'm gonna shoot you in the face. Charly radios anyone, literally anyone, for help. Please, we're out here on the bridge. We're gonna die. There are 2 minutes left on the timer. Yeah. We guess like a bad guy FBI agent says there's just nothing we can do, ma'am. But it's
like, we understand your situation, but tough shit.
Yeah, but fuck you. It's at that moment that we are, and Mitch sits up in the driver's side of the fake terrorist ploy car, and he is pissed. I love this.
He looks like death warmed over. Like
he's like shreds of meat and blood hanging from his jowls. It just it's gross. Yeah, at that moment, Mitch crashes the car out of the truck. You can't kill me, motherfuckers!
It's amazing. That dude who was on the radio like goes diving out of the way. Who the fuck was that guy? I guess he was like he had to have been one of Perkins' men.
He's one of the Stooges, one of our turned G-men. So
why are they even answering her on the radio?
It's like maybe if anyone else in the area is listening, just to have plausible deniability that we did everything we could, but it wasn't. We'd never be able to save her in time because of the bomb. Dude, they're right next to that bomb. That bomb is designed to kill 4,000 people in close proximity. If that bomb goes off...
in the inevitable explosion, they're going to die. They're all going to die.
All of those FBI agents are dead. So it's sort of like American Jihad. It's like really, really weird. I don't understand what's happening. So we see Mitch...
We were talking about Mitch, dude. No one has ever lived who's more of a badass than Sam Jackson.
He's so fucking awesome, dude. He's like invested in it at all times.
There's nothing he can do that's not amazing. Yeah, he's one of those dudes who like just always brings it. He's good no matter how good or bad the movie is. He's always amazing.
So in this scene, he's like driving towards Charly and Caitlin while Timothy's shooting at him now, and he stops and yells, "Sam!" So
The way he says it is weird, isn't it? Sam!
It's like they've really gotten close now, and he's refusing to call her Charly. He's like calling her by her.
He didn't like Charly, right? That was his thing. He's like, I like Sam. I don't like Charly.
And I just, even like what we were just saying, it's like there's so much emotion like tied into his delivery of these lines and into the way that Mitch, the character, feels about Charly, the character. It's awesome.
Well, that was his thing. Like, I wanted to get this one thing right or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, he's got to see this thing through.
So we see Samantha get Caitlin in the car. Then she's trying to draw Timothy's fire. She looks up and then this part's fucking badass. This is a great little sequence here, a little stunt sequence. But she looks up and she sees a gun like dangling near the dead and on fire soldier that fell out of the helicopter.
Yeah, it's like still slung over his shoulder.
But it's like so they're tangled up in the lights, but that gun's clearly it's like dangling in the flames. So
yeah, it'd be hot as hell.
She pulls out her knife, which is identical to Timothy's knife, cuts the strand of lights. The body acts as a counterweight, we guess, that yanks her up in the air like as if she was on a pirate ship.
Awesome. It was awesomely staged. Like this whole sequence was all the pieces were put in place, for this particular
it's like a
gag.
Rube Goldberg machine going off. As she flies up in the air, she grabs the piping hot gun and just unloads on Timothy, who falls out of the chopper, lands on the truck, and still doesn't appear to be dead.
I feel like as he's falling, she delivers that great line, "Die screaming, motherfucker,"
so we talked
to him, which she had said earlier, right?
She told him as he was leaving the cooler to leave her and Caitlin to die. She's like, "I'm going to watch you screaming. Do you believe me?" Because you can always tell when someone's lying.
Yeah.
It's fucking badass.
Yeah, she's a badass, Charlie Baltimore / Samantha.
That's right. So we'll call her Samantha now since she has transitioned back to mommy mode. So Samantha slides back down the light strand and runs to the car. We hear some of the goons on the bridge saying they have to stop her from getting to the border, which they're pretty much already like, no, you don't.
Also, I noticed this was kind of weird. I don't know. I don't think it was meant to make a political statement. It was probably just meant to not make anyone mad. But the Canadian flag was like in flames, and Old Glory was doing just fine up there.
God damn it!
They're probably like, we can't burn the American flag. We can let the Canadian one burn. Canadians, though, whatever.
That's some bullshit, man. Canada deserved better. So they're saying we got to stop her, but there are only 10 seconds left, and at this point,
what does it matter? She should
die.
She's gonna be vaporized.
They all should be.
Right?
So in my mind, all of those cops are at the wall or at the border going, "Well, we're all gonna die."
They're like true
should
believers.
Be like exchanging pleasantries, like saying adieu to one another. We'll see you in the great beyond.
I'll see you in hell, Johnny.
So Mitch drives up. Like Mitch is trying to get them off the bridge. Right as the bomb's about to go off, we see one last shot of Timothy, who is miraculously still alive. And then he gets vaporized when the bomb goes off. It's a cool effect of the car driving away with the explosion behind. I liked that effect. Like that whole, like the fireball behind the car driving off was cool.
I assume that was another model shot or whatever, but that was like an epic explosion. The whole bridge is like crumbling and the cars are being flung into the air and everything like that.
The back of the car is on fire and it's like thrown up in the air because of the blast. And,
it's awesome.
I love. Awesome. I like Sam Jackson delivering gold without even saying anything. Is like when Caitlin says, "Don't hit the cars."
Right. It's like raining cars down around them, and he throws this look at her like,
just.
Fuck do you think I'm doing?
It's the most epic like side eye I have ever seen in my entire life. Somewhere, a little while after all this turmoil has happened, Mitch has to pull over, and goddamn it, wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all just need to like pull over? He can't drive anymore. So he is like, there's this sweet blood-soaked moment of tenderness when he calls Caitlin gorgeous and tells her that she has her mother's eyes and don't believe any differently, which harkens back to the previous chapter where Samantha / Charly told Timothy that Caitlin has his eyes. And I just think that was badass of of the Mitch character to do that in that moment, to be like, you got your mom's eyes.
Mitch has a lot of heart.
It's so good.
Mitch has a lot of heart. Yeah. I assume this is probably the moment where Mitch was meant to have died, if that was going to have happened.
Yep. I got the feeling too that like dramatic expiration was supposed to happen at this moment. And maybe the emotion had reached its crescendo. It'd been sad for him to die in front of Caitlin, though.
So you said the test audiences didn't like him dying, and they changed it, or they went and did some reshoots.
They went and did some reshoots. So I'm also wondering if the line "You can't kill me, motherfuckers" was added because Samuel L. Jackson was like, you can't keep my character down, baby.
I love it.
So it's at that moment that Samantha shows Mitch the key to the security box and reminds him that they're filthy fucking rich.
I think I had forgotten about it as a viewer of the film by now. So much other shit had happened. Like, oh, that's right. There's money out there. There's a case of money somewhere.
That was not even movie time. That was not even 30 minutes ago.
I know, but dude, like that was the MacGuffin, right? Like that, yeah. And then it's like so much shit is happening.
It is
in this
true
film.
though that as much as the security box played into the plot, it wasn't something that was like an overriding principle. It was just like, you know, it was sort of like her weak ploy to try to get out of what was going on.
It was like stopping the bombing plot was the main plot of the film.
So we cut to sometime in the near future. Samantha looks to be driving through what it looks like Sonoma, like wine country or something like that to me.
Yes.
In what looks like the Thelma and Louise car, right?
Absolutely. Convertible's down. She's got like the scarf tied around her hair.
Very fucking classy. A call comes through from President Geary. Who extends his thanks and asks her to come work for the State Department for a shit ton of money.
He says to her, "Would I be out of line if I asked you to come back into government?" Like, what the fuck? That's a weird thing to say. That's a weird phrasing. I kind of wish
he'd said,
it's like that thing, the government. Look, we got to coordinate with the federal people.
I was just about to say, would you be interested in coming back to work for the federal people? We have an office for you set up at the federal building.
The Men in Black or some shit. Yeah.
We should write a movie and just call whatever vague government branch the federal people. Jesus.
She shoots him down.
She's like, no thanks. I've got papers to grade. And that he'd be surprised how much a good teacher can earn as she checks out her briefcase full of money in the seat next to her. But before they hang up, she says, I got a favor to ask of you, President Geary. And they cut to Larry King Live. We love Larry. Where Mitch...
So I take it, if Mitch was meant to have died, all of this must have been reshoots. Like they got Larry King on the phone and they're like, what's up, LK?
Yeah, I wonder what the ending would have, like maybe the movie was supposed to have ended similarly, but there maybe wouldn't have been a call from the president, or maybe there would have been and she was just like, leave me alone. But like, maybe what would the favor have been? I have no idea. Cut to Larry King where Mitch, after being singled out by the president, is weighing in on the Perkins case on Larry King Live. I love that his ex-wife is staring in disbelief.
See, I assume that's the favor, right? Like, please make Mitch a hero so that he can get back on, win the approval of his son and or
which is a big stand-up move on Charlie's part. That's badass. I like it. We also get the delivery of yet another golden line, and I don't know whether it's golden because of the way it's written or just because of the way that Sam delivers it. But man, it's
because Sam Jackson can do no wrong.
Well, I'm always frank and earnest with women. In New York, I'm frank. In Chicago, I'm earnest.
And the look he gives, like he's just so happy with himself for his joke. And yeah, there's nothing Sam Jackson can't like sell to me. Like there's no line he can't make work. That should not have worked. I can't think of another actor who could have sold that.
It's just the shit-eating grin that he looks around. He's like, I've been planning this. Is it good? Did you guys like it?
He was playing the room. He's like, is the grip or the gaffers? Are they laughing over there? Is the lighting guy laughing?
That's exactly what it is. Like, oh my God, it's so good.
I want to see the rest of that interview, like of his appearance on Larry King. It had to have been amazing.
Oh my God. We cut back to Samantha. We have to leave Mitch, unfortunately, and cut back to Samantha. And she and hubby / fiance are living the good life, sipping wine, having dinner in the golden dusk, when she suddenly and for no discernible reason whips a big ass like steak knife at a stump and then like shrugs it off like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Everyone is tickled by this, and I don't know why. They're just all like,
old head. I like your yuck laugh, your goof, gorge. Like, oh man. Boo.
But the music fires up. The song "Free" by Tracy Bonham, and we're played out. Credits
went back
roll.
and listened to some other Tracy Bonham the other day. She was
digging her. You were feeling her flow.
She had a very sort of like Alanis light, but yeah, like the other songs that we went back and listened to, I was like, yeah, I'm into it. I like that sound. It's very indicative of the 90s. It feels that time.
We got some aerials of where Samantha and family were living, and it was fucking amazing.
That spread is no joke, dude.
It looked like the foothills, like around the Sierra Nevadas.
And there's not
I'm sure it was
there's
California.
not another house anywhere in sight. Like they're doing the round and round like that, like just like panning all the way around the property. And so that house must be on what, dozens, hundreds of acres, maybe.
Yeah, it was amazing. I guess that's where they spent that money well.
Oh yeah. And that, dear friends, is A Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, it was, man, I had not seen this movie ever in my life before you suggested it. And it was awesome.
Yeah, good.
There was bits that were amazing. There were bits that are like, what the hell is happening? So I feel like it was perfect for us. It was a nice change of pace, a female lead. That's awesome.
We love.
I dig that shit. America was not ready for this.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because the movie cost $65 million to make, only made $33 million domestically, made $89 million worldwide. So it broke even. But yeah, Rennie Harlan and Gina Davis, who were married, he was the director. They had done Cutthroat Island the year before this, which was a mega bomb. So I think the speculation, I think, was that the stigma of how bad that movie had done carried over to this. They were like, oh, it's another Gina Davis, Rennie Harlan movie. Like, let's not watch it.
Do you think that the general public in the late 90s would have been savvy to that unless they were just like avid Entertainment Tonight watchers? Like,
I think there could have been a piece of that. Also a piece of, this was like a pre Angelina Jolie or Charlize Theron world where maybe people weren't ready for like a female driven action film.
Yeah, I almost wonder. I don't know. Like, would it have been a liability to have like a big, like huge star? Because there were no huge stars in this movie. Like Gina Davis was a star, but she wasn't a mega star.
It probably would have helped. But the marquee names were not necessarily like people you thought of with alongside action films.
Right.
So yeah, it would have been tough to find the right balance.
Was Sandra Bullock kicking ass at this point? Like, when was Speed?
Speed came out 94.
Okay, so she maybe could have done.
She would have been too young to have had a 10-year-old.
That's
perhaps.
true. You're right, because Charly,
because she was probably 25 to 30. She could have played.
You're right.
Maybe
you're right.
And I don't see her as someone who's like beating people's asses either.
That's true. That's true.
She's awesome.
She always is great in most everything she does.
I'm sure there are people we're not thinking about. Rosie O'Donnell.
Definitely.
She could have fucking crushed
Madonna
some dudes.
could have been in it.
Madonna, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm trying to think if Halle Berry was like on the scene yet by then.
I don't think she definitely wasn't on the same star level at that point. I think she was getting ready to blow up though.
You needed someone who, Gina Davis had what she had going for her was size. Like
but
she was probably 5'10", 6 foot.
She also was believable in the role of like this woman had been out of commission for like 9 years. And it's not to say that she like looked like it, but it's like she wasn't 20 something years old. She was like 30 something years old and looked like this, you know, beautiful suburban housewife who, I just also happened to be a murderous badass. So
yeah, she was the right age. I feel like all the pieces aligned for her to be in that role. I just didn't, I wasn't thrilled with her performance.
Yeah, I get it.
On some levels. Like, it was hard to, I don't know if she was playing it campy on purpose, but there was just like the delivery of the one-liners and the jokes and like you're grounded do you think we should get a puppy?
I think that it was supposed to just be sort of campy. It was supposed to be so like off the rails that it was supposed to be funny. Like all of it was supposed to just be kind of this unbelievable situation.
Those might be the things that if you're Shane Black, you write them and you expect that they'll, in the editing room, they'll cut out the jokes that aren't great, and they might have just left them all in on this one.
Do you want to get a puppy?
I don't know.
Shut up. Like, boo.
It's just weird. Some of the moments are just like the thing with the throwing the knife at the stump at the end.
It's a disconnect. It's a big disconnect.
Yeah, it's just jarring how unfunny some of the things are. Let's talk about 1996.
I was about to say, you may be interested to know that The Long Kiss Goodnight, The Long Kiss Goodnight was the 47th tops at the box office that year. Let's talk about some things that weren't 47th. Number one was a little indie movie called Independence Day that grossed $817 million.
I think I went to go see that movie probably 3 to 4 times in the theater.
Oh, man.
It was a crowd pleaser, and I feel like it has not aged well. Right. But it was like a crowd
I'm interested.
Pleaser of a film.
Why did it not age well?
I think it's for the same reason a lot of like mid-90s shit hasn't aged well. It's like it just feels very dated if you go back and watch it. I will say the effects are kind of badass, but like the humor of it and the look of it and there's just a lot about it that hasn't, like, I go back and look at, I could watch Jurassic Park probably literally every week and it's aged well because I think it's had a master craftsman who was interested in making something timeless as opposed to making something that's very trendy.
I get it.
That's what it is. Independence Day is a trendy movie. It was made to be the perfect film for summer of 1996. Which was but not like summer of every summer going forward.
That's a great way to look at it. This is good. Another one that we were just talking about, Twister, was on that list. These are all these are in like the top the ones that I'm naming were all in like the top 10, 15, something like that. Next, Mission Impossible.
Hell yes. Fucking love the first Mission Impossible. The
Rock, which I love.
Where was that? What number?
Yeah, The Rock was number 4 that year.
That's fucking amazing for a hard R action movie.
I love that movie so much.
We will talk about that movie. It was the twilight of the heyday of action films.
So good. It's like,
and the thing is that's crazy is that it's a Michael Bay movie who, in my opinion, was the death of action movies because he started making the PG-13 action.
It was a shame, but at least we got The Rock out of it, I guess. Number 11 that year, and surprisingly, was Eraser, an Arnie.
Oh, I like Eraser. It gets a bad rap, I think, but I like Eraser.
I liked, Eraser was the one I've not seen. It was the other one that I have seen.
Ooh, you've never seen Eraser?
I know.
Ooh. It's on the list, obviously.
I went through puberty and then stopped watching good movies, apparently.
I feel like Eraser was like the last real action movie that Arnold did before he went away to go be the governor.
Right. Number 24 of the same year, Jingle All the Way.
Oh, we should do that too for Ghosts of Christmas Future. That movie is fucking bonkers. All right, then we'll do that. Not an action movie in any way, shape, or form, but holy shit.
Even if nothing else works out, we've always got Christmas planned because we've got Lethal Weapon coming up, Jingle All the Way, Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 2 is out there. Yeah, dude.
So some other honorable mentions, some in the genre of Arnold and some outside. We have Dusk Till Dawn from 1996.
I dig
Escape
it.
from L.A.
Never seen it.
I have seen. Actually, Escape from L.A. is kind of objectively terrible.
It's got to be.
It's not good, but we love Kurt Russell, so we give it a pass. Scream. Scream came out that year.
Scream. That's like a seminal horror film.
Changed horror forever. A Frank Dukes lawsuit inspiring The Quest came out that year. GoldenEye came out that year.
Oh, that's the movie that like brought Bond back.
Oh man, GoldenEye, so
Timothy
good.
Dalton films were sort of not great, but GoldenEye is a top 5
Pierce
Bond
Brosnan,
movie.
Sean Bean, whatever that attractive, maybe not Russian.
Famke Janssen was in
wasn't
there.
it? Yes. And then rounding out the list, a couple of Seven came out that year.
Ooh.
Sudden Death came out that year.
Fucking Van Damme.
And then a personal favorite outside of the genre,
Ooh.
Multiplicity, starring Michael Keaton. She wants to touch my peppy.
I remember that being on HBO 3 times a day at some point, and I would like always. Yeah, it's like how when you make a copy, it's not as sharp as the original.
Tuck, tuck, fold. 2 tucks and
That
fold.
movie was interesting as shit.
I loved it. Never a big Andie MacDowell fan. She was never convincing. She was never a convincing actress for me. She's always very lovable. But yeah, Michael Keaton is so funny in that movie.
I love Michael Keaton, man. I'm glad he's back on the scene and working again.
It's just like, I'm glad that, for a while they went away from like, I don't know. It felt like every actor had to be ridiculously good looking, even if they were an older guy. And now like Michael Keaton is considered, which blows my mind, an older guy. And he still is just destroying it. He's so funny. He's so good. Like, I love Birdman. Birdman fucked. It was so good.
Birdman's awesome. Fucking Spotlight. Amazing. Like, he's such an actor.
Yes, exactly.
He was awesome in the Spider-Man flick. Did you see Far From Home?
Where he was the Raven, yeah.
Or not Far From Homecoming, right?
It was really, really, really good.
Yeah, and he's awesome. He's just a good-ass actor.
Yeah, love him.
Intense.
Oh, man. How did we do it? We've done it again.
Dude, I thank you for introducing me to this movie because I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Man, I'm glad you liked it. Like I say, it came from inauspicious beginnings as it was introduced in my life in the fucking middle school Bible study. But man, it has lingered favorably like a nice bourbon.
They thought they were getting a rom-com for you guys to watch.
Yeah, they thought they were introducing us to some like interracial romance, but just turned out to be blood, guts, and glory.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I can't wait to see what's next in this brand new year for 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger.
Happy 2021, friends from the 6 Degrees
guys,
family.
Things can only get better. Things can only get better.
All right.
And we will see you soon.
We'll be back.